All right, let's get to my last interview guest of the evening, Kentucky hip hop artist. He's got a dope song out called Hottest Around. And with this warm weather, the timing is right for this song to come out. So it makes sense. I'm joined with the homie Cageman. He's with me right now. What's good?
What's good, my man? What's good? Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on the show, man. Appreciate your time. Before we get to the music and everything, I've
Hmm.
seen you perform. It was at Brown Sugar. I think it was a
Okay,
month or two
at the
ago.
Loudon House.
Yeah, at the London House. Yes. So that was
Okay, yeah.
my introduction to you, because I got a lot of mutual friends in local music, and so I
Yeah.
saw you perform for the first time. I'm like, this Cage Man cat is nice with it, you know. And
Hey, I appreciate you.
yeah, so and look, Divine Kawama, that's my local hero out there. So he put somebody on there, then I feel like he's got a cosign for these artists, for these
Uh,
platforms. He's done the brown sugar thing for a long time, always giving a platform to the local hip hop artists. So I
yeah,
saw
and that's
Kate.
crazy because
Yeah.
I didn't even know brown sugar was a thing until this year. Like I was talking to another local artist, Rock RLC, Respect the Original Creation, and I was kind of like interviewing him. I have a podcast on my own called Cagemans Corner. Y'all can go check it out if you want to.
Yeah.
But he had mentioned that, and he said that he's been doing brown sugar since like 2010 or something like that. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah. And
Yeah.
so it was just kind of like a share shock to me that like Lexington's music scene has been jumping. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a new thing. It's just now getting the buzz that it deserves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of talented MCs in Lexington, like yourself, Fred C, ROC,
Mm-hmm.
Els Bentley. He's doing his thing.
X.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
just, just give you a few. There's a lot of talented MCs, man. So, from your side of things, Cage, man, how did you get started as an artist?
Man, honestly, I've been kind of entangled with music my whole life. From a very young age, like first, second grade, I picked up like violin, started playing a bunch of different string instruments. I'd say I'm best at bass. And then more so towards like seventh grade and middle school, I had a buddy who was just on the bus freestyling and he like played this instrumental. I was like, bruh, how did you do that? And so he put me on the FL studio, and from there, the rest is just kind of history. I started off making beats, but I didn't start rapping seriously until I think like 2 years ago, like 2020. So that's fairly new for me. But I've been making beats for like 10 years. So it's really my bread and butter, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So as far as influences, who has influenced you as an artist?
Um, I would say immediately around me, I have a lot of family that's musically inclined. So I have a cousin who's currently the bass player for Pop G, but he started off making beats too, so he kind of inspired me to get into that. And then I have an uncle who raps. He actually won like a vibe contest back in the day, but he was just a little older, so they didn't really run with it. But as far as immediately around me, I say definitely my family. I say as far as like industry goes, um, I definitely say I can't really give it to any one particular artist. Um, as far as like my family goes, I grew up on a lot of old school music, like Marvin Gaye, stuff like that. Coming up on my own, I gravitated more towards conscious rap, like J. Cole and Kendrick. But I kind of try to pull my inspiration from everywhere. I listen to all kind of music. I vibe with country music. So I just like music in general.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I guess I'm from that same way as well. Just listening to different artists and different genres, especially as I got older. Like I'm a hip hop head first. That was the genre that
Exactly.
I was glued to. Can't get me out of it. Like I'm stuck with it.
Hmm.
Representation. just things of that nature. So as I got older, I started listening, to all sorts of music myself, and next thing you know, I'm going to local shows and seeing who's out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in tune with the local music scene here in Lexington. It's a city I'm proud to say that it's home. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy to see that not just Lexington, but Kentucky in general has become more of a
Mm-hmm.
bourbon, horses, and basketball state. It's, it's there's a
Right.
talented there's a talented local scene out here. It's not and
Mm-hmm.
not just the obvious names like Sturgill Simpson, Chris Stapleton,
Mm-hmm.
Jack Harlow, the
Right.
Homies, and ESTG obviously, and Ruby
Mm-hmm.
Rose. I can go on and on. And of course, Nappy Roots way back in the day. The Country Boys, can't forget about them. There's a lot of
Right.
talented MCs and artists out here that's grinding independently, just doing them, being themselves. So I think
Mm-hmm.
what got me into your music was it wasn't just Brown Sugar because that was my first time seeing you perform in person.
Mm-hmm.
It was through the aforementioned ROC and Molly Carter.
Mm.
I think
Okay.
it was one of the two that shared your album on Facebook. That was my introduction prior to seeing you in person. Um, and you got this album from last year called 777. And I think
Yeah.
it was,
Correct.
and I listened to the album, definitely enjoyed it. I think some of the songs that I liked are Elevated.
Mm.
I like that
Okay.
one. It's the title track 777. And for
Okay.
obvious reasons, R.I.P. Nipsey.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I like that one. That was you, Johnny King,
I appreciate
Molly,
that.
yeah, and RC on that track. So you let's talk about your current release, Hottest Around. That's your first release of this year. Just talk about how that
Mm-hmm.
track got put together.
So with hottest around, it honestly kind of just came out of nowhere. So I was in the crib just going through beats, like unfinished beats on my computer, and the beat for that had popped up. I actually made that beat in like 2018, but I just never did anything with it. And so I was like, damn, I'm kind of feeling this. And it's funny with music, like it might not resonate right there in that moment, but give it time and you'll be like, okay, this is fire. And so I heard the beat and I was like, usually I don't rap on up tempo stuff like this, but I just got to do something with this. So I just started rapping and I was like, you know what? I'm like, cause with that 777 album, that's pretty much like you said, my debut into like jumping into music. And so I feel like just with it being my first album, I was like, dang, it's not really picking up the traction that I wanted it to. So I was like, nah, I need niggas to like, you know what I'm saying, put respect in my name. So I was like, I'm just go hottest around. And so that's just how it came to be. And then, so I wrote the song in like January, but I didn't put it out until I think it was August. Just trying to give myself space and room to breathe and not put something out right after the album. I wanted the album to be able to, you know what I'm saying, um, kind of grow and do its thing. But
Yeah,
that's just kind of where I'm at with Hottest Around. But it's just meant to be something to give fans a different perspective other than the 777, just like a polar uh, opposite more or less, because you know it's balance. It's not all good. It's not all bad. So just somewhere in the middle.
yeah. Well said. Well said. You definitely want to, as an artist, especially in hip hop, you definitely want to show some versatility. Show that you're
Mm-hmm.
more than one dimensional. And this hottest around, man, you snap on this joint. You literally snapped on this joint.
Hey,
So
love, I appreciate it.
yeah, so then I'm like, man, he's feeling some type of way, and I like it, man. I like this guy, man. That's
Thank you.
whoever, whatever you was felt in that studio when you recorded this joint. I'm like, man, he said what he needed to say. Like, put some respect on my name, bro. Like, no knock on the other MCs, but I'm here too. I'm just getting
Yeah,
started, man.
facts.
So hot as a wow. Get used to me. I ain't going nowhere. Uh, so
I don't know. No time soon, Lord willing, man. I'm gonna make my mark. I'm gonna do my thing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's the way to go. That's definitely the way to go. So you mentioned hot as a wow. You talk about you got some more stuff on the horizon. You also mentioned the podcast. Talk a little bit about that.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that for me? The last part.
Yeah, talk about the podcast that you mentioned.
Okay. Yeah. So, my podcast, Cageman's Corner. It was really just a spur of the moment idea for me. So I was just trying to, at the time, bigging up my brand and do more with like my social media presence. So I started buying like a bunch of different stuff like ring lights and different like cameras and ways to record myself. And I was putting out like TikToks every other day for like a couple months. I was just got really into that. And so one day I was just kind of chilling, uploading some stuff, and I was looking around like I have a lot of equipment in here that I could probably utilize differently. So I was like, let me try to create a different platform and try to just do something that's not really necessarily musically involved for me, just something a little bit removed. So I wanted it to be like a platform just for me to be authentically myself and just kind of talk about whatever I wanted to on like a day-to-day basis. But I also do like interviews with like local artists and different people around the city that do things. So, for instance, like I said earlier, I had Rock on the show. I've had Dizzy Wallace on the show. I have a few more artists coming up to be announced. But it's just kind of something I wanted to do for me and just to kind of try to help put the city on and give us more traction.
Yeah.
But yeah, so even with and it was interesting because like with music, of course, you have to have like a distributor to get your music out there, but you have to have the same thing too with podcasts in order to like get it on like Apple Podcast and YouTube and stuff like that. So I just thought the process was interesting. That was different, but it has some of the same properties as far as like business wise.
Yeah, uh, absolutely, man. So, I see the Cageman's Corner is on YouTube. It's on some of the platforms as well. So make sure you give that a listen. Listen to his latest shows up to this point, and then go listen to that 777 album. I know it came out
Yeah,
last
definitely run
year.
that up.
Yeah, go buy that. Go stream it. Go purchase that as well. And also go stream the hottest around joint. That's his latest. That's available on all the platforms. Shout out to the homie Cage, man. Man, I appreciate you being on the show, man.
Thank you for having me, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
appreciate you, man. Anything else you want to say to the people, to your fans, to people? Anything else you got?
Honestly, just stay tuned. I'm locked in right now, working hard. So here within the next few months, you should start seeing some more stuff surface.
That's awesome, man. Great to chat with you. Good to see you perform in person as well. And we'll cross paths again soon, man. Appreciate your time.
Most definitely, bro. Right back at you. Thank you for having me, bro.
Well,
Peace and
yeah,
love.
yeah. You have a good night.